Casino and Hotel Maryland, where I'm going to be this coming Friday, hanging out with former Terp Rodney Elliott, watching the hoops with you from noon to 4 with great giveaways and specials. Looking forward to being there again, noon to 4 this Friday for the tournaments, and those are glorious days. For those that don't know, Fanduel Sportsbook is going to be opening at 9 a.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for your day-long betting purposes. You want to get there early, camp out, have a spot that's yours and yours alone for the rest of the day, to just watch basketball and bask in your glory. First of all, you should email events@sportssocialmd.com and see if you can't reserve your spot. But secondarily, get there early. The Fanduel Sportsbook opens at 9 a.m. Of course, there's also the 24/7 betting kiosks that are available. And as always, there's 63 of them now, by the way. There's 63 betting kiosks. They've added 12 more. And, of course, it's just the best place to be. And on top of everything else, as if they couldn't be doing more for you in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, they are also offering you the chance. If you put in a $50 bet on any NCAA tournament game, any game at all in the NCAA tournament, you make a $50 bet and you lose, don't crumple up your ticket. Don't rip it up into a billion pieces out of anger. Don't look back in anger, I heard them say. Instead, take that ticket over to the hopper that you're going to see. You'll know it's one of those giant, sort of, I don't even know what you call it, a basket, I guess. But you know what I'm talking about. It was the reason why we call it a hopper. You take it over there, you put your name on the back of it, your information on the back of your ticket, you put it in there, and you will be registered to win a $500 bracket bonus, even if you make a losing bet. Any $50 bet on an NCAA tournament game gets you a second chance with that $500 bracket bonus in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. You can't ask for much more than that. This man, speaking of can't ask for much more, he tried to help you out. He tried to make you some money last week. He didn't go 5 for 5, but his big one was a big one, as he told you to bet Cal State Fullerton to win the Big West tournament at plus 700 odds. They were like the 5th favorite in the league. And they were victorious, and you could have made a boatload of money if you had listened to our pal Aaron Oster from VSiN, who's up first here on Simply the Bets. What's going on, dude? How are you?
Hey, I'm good. As you said, cashed that ticket, and had a couple of other nice cashes, including Iowa winning the Big Ten. So pretty happy about that.
No, it was a good week for you. And great, good to have you back with us. But that one was a big one. That one was a big one at plus 700 for Cal State Fullerton winning at the Big West. All right, so what does your life look like this week, by the way? Like, how camped out are you out in Vegas?
Well, you know, I'm kind of poring over the bracket. I'm looking to see, as all of the various books come out with their props, everyone does things a little bit differently, so trying to figure out, you know, exactly where, not just for the single games, but betting Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, where the best lines are everywhere, and then kind of dashing around town to place my bets accordingly. And then, of course, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Actually, I'll probably be sending a lot of it over at the Circa, one of the biggest sports books in the world here in Vegas, and also has a nice pool.
Yeah,
So
the Circa Swim. I have noticed that. That looks like a pretty cool place to hang out and watch games. It used to be that you had to go to Vegas in order to be able to experience this. Now it's kind of nice for us in Maryland that we could just wander down to a Live Casino and Hotel and camp out for 4 days in the glory of the FanDuel Sportsbook and feel that same feeling where we're like, wow, we've been sitting in this same seat for 12 consecutive hours. Maybe
there's nothing like it.
Maybe
nothing
we should
like it at all.
stand up and walk around a little bit. Although I guess
would you do that?
Well, we got to do a little bit of walking to get the bets in. Like you have to do a minimal amount of walking in the process in order to make that happen. All right, it's time for Aaron to give us our 5 L's for the week. Not 5 losses, no, 5 particular bets that you should be thinking about that all happen to start with the letter L. We begin with a local bet. Aaron, where are you looking this week?
You know, I really wanted to be able to say I'm looking towards the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, all right, thank you. Thank you for the reminder. Then
Yeah.
The Maryland women are in the NCAA tournament, huh?
That is absolutely true, absolutely true. I'm not going there, though, despite not being in the NCAA tournament. Of course, there is NIT games when it comes to Towson, and Towson facing Wake Forest in the first round. And I kind of looked at the spread a little bit. I think the spread is right. It's 8 right now. I don't really want to touch that either way. And the NIT is just funny because it's almost like bowl season where you're kind of playing armchair
Have
psychologist.
no idea, right? Who wants to be here? Like, it's easy to say that Towson would want to be there more than Wake Forest, but I think Towson is far more reason to be disappointed in not being in the NCAA tournament than Wake Forest does.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said. Both of these teams went into conference tournament week expecting to be in the NCAA tournament. Wake thought they'd get in at large. Towson thought they would win the conference and make it. Both of these teams have to be a little bit disappointed. But, of course, neither team really had big expectations going in to the season of being in the tournament. So it's tough to say. So we're going to put that aside a little bit for now and try to look at this, a little more logically. The total in this game is 149.5. It's actually gone up a few points since it opened. It was some unusual line movement. When it opened, I believe around 147.5. It actually went down before shooting back up to now 149.5. And, this is kind of when it comes to tempo, two completely different games. As good as Towson's been offensively, they're a very slow team tempo-wise. Wake is very fast. So, again, going back to the armchair psychology thing, I think this is going to be a game where Wake, while I think that they're going to win this game, they're going to be content to play at Towson's pace. And that's just kind of the way I'm seeing it here. I think it's going to be a slower game, maybe similar to that Towson-San Francisco game earlier in the year that ended 71-61.
Okay.
Towson games have been going under a lot more than they've been going. Well, not a lot more. 17 out of 30 have gone under. Wake is about an even team when it comes to overs and unders. So while these teams are actually both good offensively, I think this game, just between the disappointment, between the quick turnaround, all of that stuff, I think this is a game that both teams will be content to play slowly. So I see this going under the 149.5.
Okay. All right. Under on Towson. By the way, and I'll throw this out to you because it was brought up to me by our buddy Brad Feinberg from Bet Prep last week, who sort of said, when we get to this time of the year, I am more inclined to look at the unders in general. And he threw out a couple of things. And this worked for me in the Big Ten championship game because I played the under there. You have teams playing games in short turnarounds. You have teams, the intensity of the situation leads into maybe digging in a bit more defensively than you do the rest of the year and valuing each possession a little bit more significantly. I'm not saying, obviously, you're going to bet every game, and certainly Vegas knows the same things we do, but are you maybe a bit more inclined to bet an under this time of year than you might be the rest of the year in college basketball?
Yeah, you saw it in conference tournament play, where especially in those early games, when there weren't a lot of fans necessarily in the stands, that games were going under at a tremendous clip. Now, this is a little bit different in the NIT because they're at-home arenas. The team's comfortable there. You didn't have to travel as much. However, again, like if you're Wake Forest playing in the NIT, are students really packing the stands for that one?
And a lot of these places are spring break too.
Right, exactly. So it's one of those situations where, yeah, I do think the environment contributes. It's not quite as simple as I think in the NCAA tournament, particularly the early games of any session, especially if it's not involving, one of the real local teams. I think the under is the right play between the neutral courts that they're not familiar with, the big arenas. And again, in a lot of these cases, it'll be big arenas that aren't filled very much. So yes, I do think the under tends to be the right play for looking total.
And the word nerves comes into mind in the NCAA tournament too, right? That you just
a little bit.
Yeah, like you just notice situations where you're like, oh, you are feeling the moment a bit.
There are obvious exceptions to this, of course. And by the way, if Bryant beats Wright State and it's Arizona, Bryant just blindly play the over because that could be
right.
Like a 120, 100 type game.
Peter Kiss, the nation's leading scorer, on Bryant. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Let's go long term. Let's go. What's a futures bet that you like a lot this week?
Yeah, I mean, this will be the one time that I go off of March Madness here just because when I'm thinking long-term, I'm trying to give you, something that you have to hold on to a little bit here. I'm going to the NFL draft as you're seeing more and more props start to come out.
I was really disappointed, by the way. This is a selfish thing. I was like, as soon as I saw that the Jaguars tagged Cam Robinson, I was like racing over to try to like bet on Aiden Hutchinson again. And, yeah, it did not take long. It was pretty rapid how the odds shifted. I was not able to get in on Aiden Hutchinson before he became the overwhelming favorite once again to be the number one overall pick.
Yeah, he is an overwhelming favorite right now. And by the way, you do need two tackles on a team, right?
I
I'm not sure that Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu isn't the right play right now at, I believe, plus 710 to 1. Like, I could still absolutely see the thing. And by the way, Kayvon Thibodeau is also going to really impress in pro days. Obviously, he's pretty good at the combine. And don't count him out either. But yes, Aiden Hutchinson is a massive, I believe, minus 420 right now, favorite for a reason. But I'm not going with the number one overall pick. I am going, they're starting to put out first player at each position. I'm looking at offensive line right now. And right now, Ike Ekwonu is the favorite at minus 115, which I don't think quite adds up. Evan Neal is quite and simply a physical freak. You look at him, GMs, owners are going to absolutely fall in love with him. He absolutely killed it at the combine. He's even money, plus 100 right now to be the first offensive lineman taken. And you can say Conway's the better skills player, but I don't even know if it's that big a difference there. I think it's far more likely that someone in the top 5, if they're going to fall in love with an offensive lineman, it's going to be Evan Neal. So I like that at even money. I think that he should be the odds-on favorite.
What's even weirder about that, and I get it, it's based on the teams that are drafting there. Evan Neal is the second favorite to be the number one overall pick, with Ekwonu behind him as the third favorite. But yet Ekwonu is the favorite to be the first offensive lineman taken.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with liability. Evan Neal was getting all the buzz about the Jaguars before the combine, before they tagged Cam Robinson. And so they took on a lot of money for Evan Neal. I think that's part of it. And for whatever reason, they believe that Conway was the better prospect. But again, there's a reason that everybody was betting Evan Neal first.
That's
and
really
so,
interesting.
yeah, I like Evan Neal here.
That's really interesting. All right, now as we continue the 5 Ls with Aaron Oster, our buddy from out in Vegas at VSiN. He's with us here on Simply the Bets. So let's go next to a long shot, a big underdog that you love.
Oh, man, all of these are there are so many bets I love for March Madness. I've already played quite a few. So there are, I'm going to give you a concept here, and then I'm going to give you like a more direct pick.
Okay.
One concept here is instead of playing a team to win the championship, go ahead and look at the most outstanding player market that you can find at Fanduel and play whatever the best player is on that team. For example, if you like Kentucky, you can play them at plus 850, perfectly reasonable bet. But you can also go and play Oster, who would very likely win most outstanding player for the tournament if Kentucky wins it, at plus 1,600. You can go down and let Jaden Ivey, Purdue, plus 2,400, Jabari Smith, Auburn, plus 2,500, and down the list. Obviously, there are some teams that are a little harder to do that with. Gonzaga obviously has Drew Timme and Chet Holmgren.
Yeah.
A few other teams that way. But, similar to how if you bet on a team, play Super Bowl MVP instead, kind of look at that here with the most outstanding player. So that's kind of an overall concept.
What you're sort of saying is it improves your odds slightly, right? Like
it's more than slightly. Like I said, with Shibwe, it's 1,600 instead of plus 850. With if Villanova wins, Colin Gillespie, he's 30 to 1, while Villanova is 20 to 1. So it's more than a little bit. You're getting 150% up to 2 to 1
I got you.
on your money.
Yep, I got you. All right, now give me one more specific then.
All right, so looking more specific, and I'm looking at the Sweet 16, looking at some of these lower seeds, and there are a couple I like here, but I'm going to go just strictly with my heart on this one, and I know that it'll make you and all your listeners happy as well. Give me Davidson plus 650 to make the Sweet 16.
They're the ones that take out Duke, you say?
I do say that. I think that they are going to have a tough matchup with Michigan State, but if they make it past Michigan State, that offense seems tailored to just wreck the Blue Devils right now. It's a senior-laden team, great guard play. We saw the way in the ACC tournament that perimeter shooters were just lighting up Duke. That's why they lost to Virginia Tech. And don't forget Boeheim, and not even Buddy Boeheim, was going off against Duke behind the arc. And Davidson is just absolutely tailor-made to do that. I think Duke, while they could be a physical presence, and this could end up being a high-scoring game, I think that this would be a complete nightmare matchup for Duke if they end up facing in the second round, and they absolutely could end up bouncing Coach K and ending his career.
I mean, it would be wonderful news, and even better if you laid a little bit of money on it. Look, we all know they can score, they can shoot for sure. I love it. I'm waiting on. I want to throw some money on South Dakota State to make a Sweet 16.
That was my other one.
Yeah.
South Dakota State is plus 780 to make the Sweet 16. They're the other ones I'm really looking hard at. Like I said, I'm placing a lot of bets, so sometimes it's hard to narrow this down. But those were the two that really jumped out at me. And if you want to go real extreme long shot, you're looking for another Sweet 16. Colgate, I think, is a little bit interesting, and they're up over 10 to 1.
And I like Colgate too. And do we know what? So where is Johnny Davis at this point? Where are we with him?
That's the big question, isn't
Right.
it? Where exactly is Johnny? No one knows, and they're not going to say anything. My guess is he's going to play. We saw him play before.
Right.
My guess is he's not going to be fully healthy.
That's the
tournament.
and they're just such a drastically different team. And there's nothing to like at all about the LSU Iowa State matchup. Like that's just a turd. So yeah, sure. Colgate, be bold. Do it. Go be bold. All right, let's move on. Give me your loser. What's the bet that you look at and say, nope, stay the F away?
For me, it's Baylor plus 240 to win the East. Baylor has faded down the stretch. They're 8-4 straight up in their last 12. They lost to Oklahoma in the conference tournament. LJ Cryer, even though it's not official, I think it's pretty clear at this point that he's out. He was out for the season, and they just didn't want to say it in case it affected their seeding. Obviously, Jonathan Chamwa-Chachua is definitely out. I think they're just too banged up in a really tough region that includes Kentucky and UCLA.
Yep.
I don't even think they'd get a real tough game in the second round, whether it's UNC or Marquette. If they're completely healthy, this number might be around where it is. As it stands right now, a banged-up Baylor team plus 240, I don't think that line makes any sense. I need probably better than 3 to 1 to even start considering them. I think this is a really bad bet on Baylor.
I completely agree. I'm a fighting Johnny Juzang in that region myself. I am a believer in UCLA making the run one more time. And then give me the bet that you love. Just something that you say, go however you got to do, hop on a scooter, crawl, however you need to get to the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Go do it right now.
Oh, man, how do I just pick one? These are all my babies here. I have so many bets I love right now. I will give you a single bet for the weekend, and then I will give you a futures bet that I love. The single bet for the weekend, I think, and this is, it's a little square, it's a little trendy, but you know what? As Huey Lewis in the News once said, sometimes it's hip to be square.
Yes.
Give me South Dakota State plus 2 versus Providence. This is one where I had two ideas going into the tournament that no matter which way the bracket went, I was going to be playing a certain game. One was I love South Dakota State. I thought no matter who they were playing, I was going to play them on the line. I thought I'd be getting 5 or 6. I was very happy about that. And the other one was I was going to fade Providence. You've heard all season how they've been, based on statistically metric, the luckiest team. We saw them get blown out in the Big East tournament, and I think that's much more of what they are than their overall record. As much as I do like that team, I just think this is a horrific matchup for Providence. The line came out. It was 2.5, went down to 2. Give me South Dakota State plus 2 over Providence.
We're essentially at this point saying we think South Dakota State's going to win the game, and I am in agreement with you on that one.
Yeah, if you want to take money line, sure.
Yep. I agree with you. And then what was the long-term one that you wanted to throw out?
Kansas plus 200 to win their region. I think they got the best draw of all of the 1 seeds. I don't think, they have Auburn down there. I think they can absolutely destroy Auburn. I think plus 200 is a really nice value. I think this should be closer to even money, quite frankly, for them to make it. I think it's just a really good play.
All right, very good. At the Oster is how you follow him on Twitter. And Aaron, what's VSiN got going on this week?
Obviously, we have all of the March Madness guide. We have the full guide out breaking down everything from factors that go into Cinderellas, from upsets alert, from futures plays. We have everything on there. It'll be on the tournament guide. You can get it all, including all full all-access coverage through the tournament for under $20. So check that out at VSiN.com.
Very good. All right, buddy. We will talk to you next Wednesday. Please, may you have similar success because we are on the same wavelengths on a few of these things. So I am rooting for you this week, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday. All right.
Hey, hope everybody has fun watching all the tournament action and, as you said, winning some money.
No doubt about it. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you. That's Aaron Oster from VSiN. He checks in with us every Tuesday here on Simply the Bets. When we come back in, Bruce Bilek, General Manager of the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. He will share with you more about what bets are available to you, lots of props, and what's going on throughout the week. It is my favorite week of the year. We're talking about it here on Simply the Bets. Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new Fanduel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Glory Days Grill's St. Patrick's menu is now in full swing, and it's their most popular seasonal menu all year. New in 2022 are their smoky thigh wings with Guinness grilling sauce, a house-made Guinness barbecue sauce. Fan favorites also include their corned beef and cabbage, the shepherd's pie with Guinness braised ground beef, the Glory Days Reuben, and the Rachel. Enjoy a pint of Guinness or Guinness Baltimore Blonde. The St. Patrick's menu is available for the whole month of March. Come in for great food, cold beer, and basketball. Find out more about Glory Days Grill and get your order in online at glorydaysgrill.com.
The newest edition of Pressbox is available now. On the cover, we celebrate the 20th anniversary of Maryland men's basketball's 2002 NCAA Tournament Championship, as Gary Williams reflects on how the program rose from the ashes of NCAA sanctions to the pinnacle of the sport, and why his perspective of the title run has changed now 2 decades later. Plus, Juan Dixon, Lonnie Baxter, and the rest of the team relive the moments that ultimately led them to cutting down the nets in Atlanta. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farms stores. And you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a wide range of models and trim lines. You can choose the perfect Toyota to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
If you miss anything, don't forget that you can find whole shows later on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon Podcasts. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
All right, back in here on Simply the Bets every Tuesday. And don't forget, we've also, of course, added Weekend at Bookies into the rotation. Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday morning at 11:40 a.m. Also brought to you by the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Want to encourage you to bet responsibly. As always, it's very important that you know the risks and have a plan before you start gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org. Just taking a look at how these numbers have shook out. I told you last week that I loved Villanova as a Final Four team. And just sort of looking at the numbers post-bracket release as to where teams are, Gonzaga remains a heavy favorite to reach the Final Four at minus 140. Arizona at plus 145, Kansas plus 200, Kentucky plus 240, Baylor plus 240, Auburn plus 260. Villanova is up to plus 390. I still like them at that number. Iowa plus 390. Duke could be getting too much money. That's been backed off a little bit. They're at plus 460. And then rounding out the top 10, a tie between Tennessee and UCLA. I, of course, have already said I really like UCLA there at plus 500 as well. That's a number that I would play. That's as far as Final Four odds are concerned. As far as the national champion is concerned, Gonzaga, of course, the favorite, 3-1. Arizona at 6-1. Kentucky plus 850. Kansas 10-1. Baylor 12-1. Auburn 16-1. Duke 17-1. Villanova continues to be intriguing to me at 20-1. Then Purdue also at 20-1. Tennessee 25-1. That's where Texas Tech and Iowa are. And I still can't dismiss the 13th favorite to win the NCAA tournament, UCLA at 35-1. I can't help but think about them there. So those are the updated numbers as of right now from the Fanduel Sportsbook for both the Final Four and the National Championship futures odds. That's what's available in the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Speaking of which, joining us now, the general manager of the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. I'm surprised he's even able to breathe this week because I know what a week like this looks like in the sportsbook. Here's our buddy Bruce Bilek, and he's back with us. Bruce, are you just living in the Fanduel Sportsbook for like the next 5 days, or will your family even get to see you?
Glenn, I probably will not see my family until next Monday,
yeah.
But this is kind of what we live for. These are the weeks and the times that we really, really enjoy. So can't be more excited.
No, it's an awesome week. And I was telling everybody earlier, so for people that don't know, you guys are opening up. We got special hours this week for the NCAA tournament, correct?
We do. So Thursday through Sunday, we're going to be open 9 a.m. to midnight. So everybody can come in. We'll have some Bloody Mary bars, some mimosa bars, so everybody can get started early and enjoy the full aspect of the tournament starting on Thursday morning.
I love that, man. Oh, these are my favorite days. And, of course, Rodney Elliott and I will be back on Friday from 12 to 4, hanging out with some great giveaways, watching games. I felt really good. Bruce actually saw me as I ran up to cash my first ticket on Sunday when we were there. I was so proud of myself. I won. I hit the under in the Big Ten championship game and comfortably hit the under, in fact, in the Big Ten championship game. I was high-fiving. And then I was immediately brought back down to earth because I thought I could get Memphis at 10.5, and they just packed it in the last few minutes of the AAC championship game. So my giveth and taketh away was the story for me on Sunday. We'll see how Friday goes. Bruce, what jumps out to me is lots of props now available for the NCAA tournament. All of a sudden, like the span of 2 days, there have been all sorts of fun bets. What has jumped out to you? What's really catching your eye in terms of props related to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, again, props. So the thing I always like to look for is, these regions. You break these regions down, and you really try to find out the one or two teams that have, a potential of getting out of there. Again, you and I always talk about, can you get some good odds, get them to the Final Four, and then once you get to the Final Four, it's kind of anybody's game. Anybody can win a game or two to get in. So I always try to look down and break down the regions and figure out who are the major players who could, potentially stun some the 1, 2, 3 seeds, and kind of look at it from there.
Okay. And any number that you, in looking at the regions or looking at the Final Four odds, anyone's number that's sort of in particular? I'm remaining on both Villanova and UCLA. I'm not backing off of either one of them, Bruce.
Yeah, some of these the regions are set up well. I think Kansas has a nice.
I agree.
Path to the Final Four.
I agree.
And 2-1, that's I'm always talking about plus money. That's plus money there. I think their biggest competition in that region is probably going to be Auburn.
Yep.
Auburn's playing some good basketball. They struggled a little bit in the SEC tournament, got bounced early. But I think if you look at that bracket, they have a pretty good chance of getting out of that. So that's one that pops out to me. There are some very intriguing matchups in the first round that I'm looking at that I think the number may have been set up a little differently. I really, really like Davidson. That Davidson-Michigan State matchup is one that caught my eye. I think the Colgate number might be a little long. I think they could make it in there to the
I agree.
that 8 points.
Especially if Johnny Davis is still not right, you know what I mean? Like, I 1,000% like that Colgate number.
Yeah, then the biggest one that stood out to me, and this just might be me from kind of watching basketball over the year, but I think New Mexico State getting 7 points, I actually think they have a a very, very good chance of winning that game outright. So, if you can get them at +7 or +240 on the money line, I think that's going to be one of those matchups that they could potentially knock off perennial power UConn.
All right, so here's the one, because we're going to be there 12-4 on Friday. I'm gonna give you my money on Yale at +15.5 against Purdue. That's the one I'm going to ride with. I don't know, maybe it's because I happened to tune in for some of the Ivy League tournament over the weekend. I got this funny feeling about Yale, man. Like, they are battle-tested, and that number just seems too big to me. And the problem is the one that I really like is the 4:30 game, but I might have to leave before it's over. That's Chattanooga +7.5 against Illinois, right? So, like, I might throw some money in there and then just come spend some more time with you this weekend. We might end up getting an apartment together at some point, Bruce. How much I'm going to be down
Absolutely.
there? I like Chattanooga +7.5 against Illinois too.
Yeah, again, there's some great lines out there. I watched, obviously, you were there on Sunday. Prior to that, the Yale-Princeton Ivy League Championship game was on. Yale was a 3.5-point dog and ended up winning that game outright pretty significantly. So they're a team that's playing some pretty good basketball. Purdue's a really, really big team. So, it could potentially pose some problems for Yale, but that 15.5 number does, it looks a little long.
It's a big number. That's a big number. All right, so Bruce Bilek, general manager of the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. If someone's never done this before, we've been talking for the last couple of weeks about how you used to have to go to Vegas in order to experience this, right? If somebody's never done this before, where they show up, say 11:30 on Thursday or Friday morning, of course Thursday also being St. Patrick's Day, ooh, that's going to be a day. They show up to hang out, watch hoops all day, make bets, win. Like, give me a suggestion that you would make, almost as if you were someone's parent. Like, they're doing this. They're coming to hang out. Give me some suggestions about how they should be betting, pacing themselves, like whatever it is. Give me a suggestion about the experience in the sportsbook for the first couple of rounds of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, so my first recommendation is don't show up at 11:30 on Thursday. You got to get there early. These are 4 days that are going to be a jam-packed room. We're sold out pretty much for all tables and majority of the chairs from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So there will still be availability to kind of sit and watch the games in some other areas. But get in there, have some fun, know what you want to kind of bet on. And just remember, it's a long day. It's a long 4 days. There's always another game to bet on, either today or tomorrow. Play responsibly. Make sure you stay within your means, and enjoy what this whole tournament means for people. Again, I talked about it a few weeks with you here, but for me, I'm fired up because this is. I remember opening up a sportsbook 2 years ago, and this all being taken away from us. So just to have it back and people so excited. COVID not being the talk of the town. So for me, it's almost we're back to normal. So that's what I'm just fired up about that. I can't wait to see a room full of people in there eating, drinking, placing some wagers and really just getting back to enjoying the things we do as Americans.
I mean, well said. Well said, man. I am fired up to be there Friday too, dude. Like, it's just going to be, it's going to be a tremendous, tremendous couple of hours in the FanDuel Sportsbook. So a couple of things I want to highlight that you guys have going on that I've mentioned a few times already during the week. If you come and bet a game during the NCAA tournament and you lose, you might still win. Can you explain that a little bit better?
Yeah, so you may be talking about the promo that we have going on. So we do have a promo that if you place a $50 wager and you are a Live Rewards member, you can enter into our contest, which basically at the end of March Madness, you enter and you have a chance to win. We're going to give out $500 to 10 different individuals, so a total of $5,000. So you do have a chance to win some decent money, even if you do end up losing or winning your wager there.
So the concept is, like, let's say on Friday you come down and you hang with Rodney and I, and let's just say your name is Schmlen Schmlark, and you're a Live Rewards member, and you bet Yale to cover 15.5, and they lose by 21. You don't rip up your ticket in that scenario. You don't get very angry and fire it across the room at your friend Rodney Elliott, who's making fun of you for making that bet.
No, and I even make a suggestion prior to that. As soon as you place that wager, go on to, there's a website, and we can help you with that in the sportsbook.
Okay.
We have plenty of staff available to help. There's a website you log into on your phone. You basically put in the slip ID that's on the ticket, and anybody in the sportsbook can help show you where that is located on the ticket.
Okay.
You enter your name, your live rewards number, and that basically enters you automatically into that contest.
So you don't even have to go. I was really excited about the hopper aspect of this. I was when I was
we're not doing the hopper. Yep.
I do love a good hopper, my friend. I got to be honest. There's two things that I love about it's the hoppers and it's the cash machines. I love both of those things.
The last promo we did with the hopper, it took too much space up behind the counter. I needed to get this one electronically.
All right.
So, makes it a little bit easier for everybody.
All right. So that's what you'll do. There'll be a website. You'll go there. You'll register your ticket. So whether you win or lose, and that's the point. Like even if you win your bet, you could be a double winner. You could both win on the bet and then win a $500 bracket bonus to boot.
Yep. The only restrictions are it has to be a $50 or more minimum wager, and then you obviously have to be a Live Rewards member, and then you just put that information in, and you're good to go.
Oh, that seems like a very good deal. And then the new kiosks are open and available. There's just in time for the NCAA tournament. There could not be more kiosks for you in order to get your bets in.
Yeah, so we actually had 10 more kiosks arrive this morning. The staff's working pretty hard to get all that set up. We should have them up and running by this evening, tested, approved by the lottery. So we were hoping to have them up by Thursday morning. We got them here 2 days earlier. So, we have now we had the most kiosks of any sportsbook in Maryland. We've added to that to make sure that, the crowds and the lines are not long. The one thing we do pride ourselves on is if you come in, the line may look long, but I will tell you it moves pretty quickly. You might have to wait 5 or 10 minutes to get your wagers in, but that's actually a pretty quick time compared to most sportsbooks around the country.
And so what's the total number of kiosks now that are available?
So that moved. We added 10 today, so that's going to move us to 61. We have 2 that are still being shipped. They're a little bit delayed, so we're going to get to 63 here hopefully by the end of the weekend,
awesome.
And then we'll see where things go from there.
That is awesome. All right, anything else that jumps out at you that people should know as we get ready for this Super Bowl, if you will, of college basketball over the course of the next 5 days?
Again, I think just have fun with it. Really enjoy this. I mean, some of the ones I'm looking at, I really like Arizona. I think they're currently 6-1 to win the tourney. So again, we talked about this kind of setting yourself up for a potential, guaranteed winning money at the end of this thing. So find a few teams that you like, maybe put a few dollars down on them to win the tournament, and then you can kind of play off of that how you go throughout the tournament, maybe playing them in their individual matchups. But again, this is going to be an exciting time. Remember, we've got, player props. You can bet these games in-game as soon as they tip. You can watch the action. I know you were watching it pretty heavily on Sunday, but I think the total was, on that Big Ten championship was right around 151, 152.
Mm-hmm.
I think it dropped to 143.5 at some point when you and I were talking. And I think it eked just under that 143.5. So, again, that's an 8 or 9 point differential that, if you are there and you can bet it in game, you can get some really good prices once that ball tips off.
I do think that's worth pointing out, right? If you like something a lot before the game starts, and just because the game has like a wonky first 5 or 6 minutes, those paces don't always continue, but they can dramatically change lines. And so if you like something ahead of time and you really liked an under in the first 5-6 minutes, send that number up a little bit. I'd still play the under. I wouldn't over analyze the first few minutes of a game. As sometimes it's just the excitement, the ramped up energy of the NCAA tournament that ends up taking you a certain way. Oh, and
that's one of our
that's
one of our big differentiators, Glenn. This is one of these tournaments that everybody's looking for. Some of these, I wouldn't say some of these smaller conference teams to knock it off, and it happens. We had a few years ago UMBC knock off Virginia. 16, first time a 16 seed ever beat a 1 seed. So imagine being able in the middle of that game to pick up, them at 14-1 and they're leading by 10. So, not many times do you get those type of opportunities. So that's a big differentiator with Fanduel compared to the other sportsbooks around.
That's a great point.
Take advantage of that.
And if you're looking for something local, the Maryland women, by the way, are 40-1 to win the NCAA women's tournament. So, maybe throw a couple bucks in that way and enjoy the celebration if it were to play out. Bruce Bilek, general manager of the Fanduel Sportsbook. We will see you on Friday afternoon. I'll be there with Rodney Elliott from 12 to 4. And, of course, you're going to be seeing a lot of people for the course of the next few days in general. Always appreciate you, my friend. Enjoy this first round. We'll see you down there on Friday, all right?
Look forward to having you, and let's get ready to have some fun, man.
Love it, man. Thank you, brother.
Take care.
Bruce Bilek, FanDuel Sportsbook GM. It's going to be a great couple of days, man. My favorite days. Yeah, South Carolina, the favorite to win the women's tournament at plus 185, followed by UConn at plus 350. Somebody would say UConn with plus money is always a bet that's worth making, but keep in mind, it's been 5 years. I mean, it's been years since UConn's won the tournament. Stanford plus 480, North Carolina State plus 1,100. Louisville rounds out the top 5 at plus 1,500, and Maryland again sitting at plus 4,000. An opportunity for you there to perhaps make some money on the Maryland women. Now that they're healthy, that's what Brenda Frese said. They got the top 9 players. They're ready to go. We will see how that plays out in the tournament. All right, let's get a tidbit of the week. Paul Valley, what you got for us, sir?
All right, so since the world revolves around Tom Brady, we're going to just run with that a little bit. The day before the Super Bowl, and this is from Darren Ravel, the day before the Super Bowl, a bettor made a $10,000 bet that Tom Brady, who retired 11 days before, would come back by placing a bet that the Bucs at plus 2,800 would win the Super Bowl this coming year. He'll now net $280,000 if the Buccaneers
win the
Super Bowl with Tom Brady. He's also got that ticket up for sale on Prop Swap for $32,000 if anybody wants to buy it from him.
And look, this is always interesting to me. They're twofold. One, do you just hold it, let it ride? This is like playing Deal or No Deal, right? Like it's the eternal. I took my kids to Chuck E. Cheese's recently, and they've got the Deal or No Deal machine in there in order for you to win tickets. And my son is really struggling with it, right? Like, he does not know what it – like, he just wants to hit the button that says no deal every time. He's like, what do you need 7 tickets? I don't want your 7 tickets. I want 12 tickets. Like, he wants to play that route. I think he's making the right decision by trying to sell the ticket because you're still talking about a lot of things that have to go – it's still 1 in 32 at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Just because you got better odds – by getting it before Tom Brady. You're still talking about him having to win the Super Bowl. And while I get it, it's Tom Brady, and they won the Super Bowl literally a year before. They didn't this year, and he's got to stay healthy, and so many other guys have to stay healthy.
Some
and
guys
you can
have
say,
to sign back.
Yeah, well, I mean, and not everybody did. It was one of the offensive linemen already signed in Cincinnati. Kappa, I believe, was who it was, signed in Cincinnati. But they did get Ryan Jensen back, of course.
Do you get Fournette back?
Yeah, I mean, there's still questions there. I think he's doing the right thing by trying to sell it, and there's an opportunity for someone who's maybe a bit wealthier to step in there and say, yeah, I could live by losing the $32,000.
You could pull our money, Glenn.
I'm gonna pass. It's gonna be a pass.
You're not
on
in
your
for
boys.
16K?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that opportunity.
Right. I'll find somebody else.
Not the investment that I am looking for myself. All right, very good. Thanks to Aaron Oster. Thanks to Bruce Bilek for joining us. And again, Friday afternoon, Rodney Elliott and I will be hanging out. And you're saying to yourself, okay, so you're hanging out. Well, we got great giveaways that we're going to be doing, specials, advice, having fun during the games. There will be no better atmosphere for watching NCAA tournament games Friday afternoon than coming down and joining us in the Fanduel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. So we will see you there for that. Best of luck. May the odds be ever in your favor.